Question. I don't know.
In this lonely ass world, it's getting colder. I'm not going nowhere if I cannot take my boat there. My mind was bred a little different, yeah, from my own past. If I see heat, why the fuck would I wanna go there? Mama, I make you smile. Mama, your little nigga came from wildin'. Mama, always got in trouble, I was shouting. Mama, now I'm staring at shit. Mama, I'm the pilot. Mama, if I want something, I'ma go get it. Mama, swim with the sharks, piranhas, and fishes. Mama, it's so hard down here, God is my witness. Mama, I know where I'm going. Mama, I'm a fan. It's hard not knowing who is really gonna be there for me. I wish you could be here to see me the day I start touring. Shit be on my mind every second when I'm not recording. I'm waking up conversating with the Lord every morning. I mistakenly took the wrong path, I had to rewind. I fumbled trying to move too fast, I had to keep trying. Growing up I got in trouble, told myself to keep lying. So much stress be building up, swear I be needing me time.
Grand rising, everybody. Good morning to you all. Another beautiful day. This is your girl Reese, aka the best that ever did it, aka AM Morning, aka Althea McFarland, aka the beautiful host of this podcast right here. That's right. I said it. But before I could get into the show and give you all this goodness, we got a treat for you today. But this the treat right here, Shades of Blue by AM Morning. This book right here will help change your life. And later on today, you'll hear us do a reading from one of the chapters of the book. This is like a teaser, so y'all can go ahead and get the whole thing, one big bite at a time. Audio, digital, hardback, softback, we got it all for you. And for a limited time, not only do you get this good book, Shades of Blue by AM Morning, you also get the delectable goodness from Molly Mall Sea Moss. That's right. Our brother Molly Mall is not just a super producer, he's also a sea moss producer. He makes a delicious lemonade, a delicious tea. Oh my goodness. And you can get it in the gelatinous form. And Molly do smoothies with this sea moss. So many good things and recipes. If you get up with him, he can give you sea moss, 92 vitamins and minerals that our body needs. It's 102, but 92 of them our body needs, And it's good for your immune system, boost your immune system. If you're hungry, it takes the edge off of you feeling like you're starving. And it helps you, supposed to help you not overeat. But some of y'all just greedy. It don't matter. Can't nothing stop some of y'all jokers from eating. But it helps you feel full, fast and longer. All that good stuff. Like I said, respiratory issues, and this is the cold and flu season. Sea moss is a good vitamin to have. I mean, or is it a vitamin or is it it's a good something good to have in your repertoire with your vitamins A, C's, and B's right there with the elderberry. All right. Woo! Saying all that was a mouthful, baby. Okay, so let's get to the show. Let's get into the show. Today is Wellness Wednesday, and as you know, our focal point always give you one little good thing that you could take home with you. Well, today on the show, I'm so excited. We have an actual nutritionist, and this comes as a great gift to us. Thank you, Philip Page, introducing us, bringing Miss Brandy on the show. So without further ado, let's say good morning.
Reese, thank you for that beautiful introduction. I'm so interested in the book, and I'm so interested in the sea moss. So I'll be definitely subscribing to both.
Okay.
I'm an avid reader. I'm always learning, always exploring, but I'm also looking forward to good things that taste good, that are good for me. So thank you for that.
Thank you for coming. And we also, I would be remiss to say that this young man started this whole nutritionist. We need a doctor on the show, because he was like, I hear what y'all say, but we need a doctor on the show. I saw what he cutting up. Mr. Trey Wiz Kid. Good morning.
Good morning, y'all. Good morning, Miss Brandy.
Good morning.
Glad to have you. Glad to have
I'm
you.
happy to be here. I'm so thankful that I met. It took for us to be at an open mic night. I always say that the best moments and experiences are when they're the most humdrum nights. Like, it was pouring down raining that night. And I was sharing with my daughter, we went to that open mic night, and I said, you have the best times out when it's either snowing, there's some type of blizzard, or it's raining. So it was because of that night that I met Philip, and it was a wet night, and we were just there and vibing, and one thing led to another. That's how I ended up here. So I'm so happy to be here.
Well, thank you. I'm glad for the wet comedy nights. Like, not too many wet nights you gonna get that's a joke. Like, oh, this is a joke. But
yeah,
it's a joke. It's usually a rap for me. But that was a good kind of wet and funny. So we also got some more people that's fell up in the room. We got my baby JoJo baby, and I'm gonna say JoJo baby. We got Mr. Edible Balls in the building, and we got the Beast One in the building. Say good morning to our special guest, Miss Brandy.
Good morning.
How you doing, Brandy?
Morning is off to a great start. I hope y'all are too.
Yes, I've been going great.
Thank you for saying that.
Look, she is our nutritionist. She's a real nutritionist. Like Trey said, I want a real nutritionist. We have a real nutritionist on the show today, fellas. So we can talk, get into conversation. You can ask her, and you can hear some of the things that me and Phil was saying. Right, Brandon? How about that?
Sounds like fun.
Does that make it verifiable? Good morning, LA Josh Preston. Good morning, David Green. Why ain't you in here?
Well, he's not in that group chat that you made. He must not.
He is. Yes, he is.
His name popped up. I think you got it. I sent it to him. I got you, Dave.
Okay.
He's in there with everybody. Y'all can see his name. I don't care. Okay. So, Randy, how long have you been a nutritionist?
Well, I've been cooking over half my life, so let me start there. I always feel like when you start with nutrition, you already get funny looks, or people already start tuning out, because if you didn't grow up in a certain accustomed to certain habits, eating habits, then thrusting yourself directly into nutrition is going to be very unfamiliar. It might be a little bit more than you can break down. So I like to try to start it with just your understanding of the basics about food, and about how we think about food. I was sharing this with Molly before we came on live, that a lot of the viewers, especially even me being one, we have habits that need to be broken first. Like, if we're thinking about changing your eating habits, your diet, and your overall quality of life, it starts in the mind. So the food is really the external part. The mentality you have around food and your understanding of it is really what needs to happen first. You have to switch the mind, and then everything else will follow suit. So I kind of like to start there.
Right.
Yeah.
For instance, I got to switch my mind and tell my mind potato chip is not going to stop you from crying. And that's a trigger for when I was a little girl. They were like,
I'm glad you said that.
Here's that bag of potato chips. And it's in my mind, and nobody knows this. This is the first time I'm sharing this. It's my secret crutch. It's like, if I was on drugs, that would be it.
Yeah. I mean, it's real. I mean, that triggers are where it really starts, and that there's a comfort that we tend to go to first when we're being triggered by something. As I was saying to Molly before we began the session, we don't know why we do it. Sometimes it's just habitual. Like we've been raised, we've been accustomed to understand food to be a certain thing. Like for me, I was raised Pennsylvania Dutch. I don't know how much you guys know about that, but like when you yeah, Amish, Mennonite. That's the way I grew up. I was adopted when I was 1. So my grandmother from Germany raised me from 1 year old up until she passed away when I was 18. And so my understanding of food was very deep. Like it was slow food. It wasn't, it didn't start to get fast and quick until my grandmother was no longer able to prepare certain meals for us because my mom was a working woman. And when she kind of took over the cooking aspect, it was like hamburger helper, you know, canned food. It wasn't really anything fresh, even though that's the way that we kind of grew up. We then our minds became retrained to understand like, okay, food is quick or, you know, pizza or fast food or whatever, just like average Americans. We're working. Society has, you know, made us believe that we have to have a work ethic that's stronger than our bodies, that's stronger than our well-being. It's out of balance. Like we shouldn't be working more than we're taking care of our bodies. And usually that's how it is, because when you think about food, you're usually doing 2 to 3 other things while you're eating. You're talking on the phone, you're watching TV, you're driving your car. You're never really, like most apartments. I just had this epiphany the other day having a conversation with my daughter that most of us that live in apartments, the modern apartments don't even have places for tables. So before you get into the world of food and nutrition, think about how you spend each meal. So my background, and I want to share something with you. First of all, Reese, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that you grew up like chips was your go-to. You know what I mean? It's right. So sometimes it takes for us to have a safe space to be vulnerable, to talk about the things that are really hindering us from understanding another way of doing it. Because you have to first be honest and be truthful if you want a new way. You can't just say, oh, like I can't stand on a pedestal and act like I don't have moments. I just had a ube cake yesterday. When I tell you it was so good, but that was my mom. It was so ube is a purple yam or like a purple potato. It's a Filipino ube is like a Filipino delight or dessert, and it's usually mixed and blended with coconut and sugar, and it's purple and it's beautiful. So I was tearing that up. It was like 10 o'clock in the morning. So I get it. Back into, just to give you a little bit of background about myself, I am a certified chef and culinary novice and real life mom. You know, I was 300 pounds in 2017. I was 3 days away from considering gastric sleeve surgery before we had a crisis in our family, that God led me to understand that it's more important for me to live a life that is healthy opposed to appearing to others as healthy. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you think that there's a quick fix. There's no shortcut. That's why I said
Brandy, thank you. Because I say that all the time.
Yes.
I'm against that Ozempic and all of that. They be like, but you fat, you that. I'm like, yeah, but that stuff is going to kill you. And I saw the gastric bypass took my beloved sister from 317 to now she's only 97 pounds. And she's a 50-year-old woman. And it's not good. And they she just has some health issues. And I love my sister, but that's, and it
but these are the pressures that we are that we're made to conform to. Like, in order to feel like you are attractive enough or you are successful enough, we equate our size to our attractiveness, our success. You know, like all of these things are attributed around something that is so frivolous. It's just so frivolous. Your size does not equate to health. Just because your sister's 95 pounds does not mean she's a healthy 95. Health and wealth does not start in the body, it starts in the mind.
Yes. Do anybody got questions for Brandy? Because I can talk to her all day and won't nobody get a question in age-wise, because I'm telling you, because she cooks, and I call myself a cook, a gourmet. I'm not certifiable chef, and she could tell you about the nutrition, about what some of the stuff that I'll be saying, that they look at me like I got two heads sometimes, because people, I can tell you how to eat good and eat right, but they looking at me like, you look at you. Don't do what I do what I say. I got hang-ups and hiccups. I got stuff I'm working through, but I still can tell you what's good for you and your body. The people get it twisted. They be like, if you fat, how you gonna tell me how to lose weight? Well, the same way I got fat, I wasn't always fat. So that part right there, Brandy. And I'm glad. I'm getting so
but health is more than just your size. Absolutely. I mean, everything is sort of interconnected. So one thing will blend into another. Like I said, I was 300 pounds in 2017. I was a size 22. I was 3 days away from gastric sleeve surgery because I wanted to appear healthy.
I'm a size 22.
I wasn't healthy.
The top and bottom don't match.
One thing.
I was going to ask your motivation behind it, but you said that. So when she asked if you had a question, that was going to be the question, but you answered it before I,
So what's this JoJo baby? What's up? Good day. What's your diet consist of now?
So here's the simplest way to put it is, if I'm going to have, most times we struggle with the things that I consider them lean on me foods. So if you're a busy woman, like I'm a chef, I'm a private chef, I feed people every day of the week, mainly seniors. So their diets are very lighter. They're much lighter than ours. But I still have children that I'm raising. I'm still not, I don't necessarily sit down to a full balanced meal every single day because time does not permit for that, which is mainly the majority of Americans. Like our time does not permit. Like I said, there's not even a table in most apartments. Most modern apartments are built with like breakfast nooks or like breakfast bars or whatever. That's what I have in my apartment. Anyway, my focus when I'm eating isn't about what it is more so than the quality of what it is. The quality is going to be what determines like how it behaves or how it reacts in the body. So as I said yesterday, I had a slice of ube cake, right? It's decadent. But it was one of the best. I didn't go out and buy a Harris Teeter cake for $5.99 filled with a bunch of additives or preservatives, and it's been processed. Although the ube slice was processed, there was an effort that went into getting the slice of cake. So I didn't bring it into my house, number one. I went to the actual bakery. I experienced the shop. I looked at everything, and then I chose something that I wanted to enjoy. And I sat there in the shop, and I enjoyed it. And when I closed the lid and I wiped my mouth and I threw the tissue away, I could say that I was actually mindfully enjoying being present with the food. Because see, we have these moments where we think, okay, well, a salad or, as long as we're eating right, then it's going to be right. Well, if you're not mindful or present enough with your meals, then it defeats the entire purpose. Really what the focus is on is the quality of life around how we do what we do every day. So think about where you go ahead.
I'm sorry. You didn't, I mean, I hear you on the quality thing, but it didn't much tell me what your process was on how you dropped stuff. So you telling me that I'm out here walking. I'm sorry, y'all. You still indulging in high toxic food, dairy products and eggs and mucus building stuff. And as a nutritionist, what did you learn about that through your courses? Because my understanding is that they don't teach that in most of the nutritional classes of the stuff that is toxic to the human body. You know,
So simply put, thank you for that question. Here's the only way to simplify it is this way. We have diabetics in my family. I was never a diabetic, but if you are thinking about approaching a diet, or you're not even a diet or a lifestyle change, right? And you want to avoid certain things. Some people have to, based off of like dietary restrictions, their health. Thankfully, my health is not affected by protein or whatever to that degree. If it grows, simply put, if it grows, eat it. If it does not grow, don't consume as much of it, because to deny yourself whatever your vice is in life, you're at some point you're going to come back to it, unless, like, that's why I say it starts with the mentality. So you can go on, like, right now it's veganism. I have some friends that are gluten-free. I was sharing with Molly that I had a good friend of mine who experienced breast cancer, so her diet had to change. Life is going to continue to evolve. Some of my elderly clients, they live by, my oldest client is 92 years old. He lives off of steak and eggs. He's 92, clear-minded and everything. So I'm looking at life from quite a different perspective. Each body is different. Each body is going to digest and receive nutrients in its own way. So there's no cookie cutter way to do it. Obviously, fresh is best. So the wholer you can get an ingredient, the better it's going to be for you. Our bodies are over 70% water? I can't recall, but it's like our bodies are made of water. So we should be eating foods that have a lot of water, because that's what our body needs. We can drink as much water as we want, but our body absorbs water, H2O, differently than it does through the absorption of food. The American diet is a very dry diet. Think about it. There's fast food restaurants on every corner. Not a lot of us are considered like urban gardeners. You know, we're not growing our own food. So we're entrusting our health and well-being in grocery stores, and what's being given to us. So unless you're growing it, get as close to the source as you possibly can. So for me, if I'm going to have bread, do I love bread? I absolutely love bread. Am I going to deny myself a piece of cake if I want a piece of cake? No, I'm not. I'm going to have the piece of cake, but it's going to be the best effing piece of cake that I can find. It's not going to be a cheap piece of cake. I'm going to put the effort into having it. I'm not going to deny myself in that way, because we are human beings and each person is going to respond to life in its own way. So you can go whatever direction, but not everybody is going to be cookie cutter and under the same pretenses as the next. My friend who went through cancer, her diet was much different before she had cancer. Now, we could get into what caused the cancer and all of that. That's for a different show. But when your experience in life, as it unfolds, you adjust accordingly. The main focus is to have the best quality of life you possibly can.
So when you, as a nutritionist, when you are doing any service like as a private shop, whether it be for a venue, for them personally, in their home or whatever it may be, do you attach being a nutritionist to your bookings? Because if I had somebody if you cook well, it's cooking well, versus somebody who happens to be a nutritionist at the same time. So do you separate that? Do you ever suggest better meals or ever include yourself, or do you just kind of do your job as a chef and just cook what they want?
So I just do my job as a chef, because at the end of the day, I'm a human being as well. And sometimes it could be a bit intimidating when you take the word. If I just said, hey, I'm Brandy, I'm a home cook, that tone is going to come across different than me saying, hi, I'm Brandy, I'm Chef Brandy, I'm a certified nutritionist, and I'm a certified yoga instructor, and all of this. It can be intimidating to someone that is just now being like, their toes are just being introduced to, like, even considering a different diet or considering a different way of living. So I think that it's like, there's a bit of, obviously there are some stipulations that also come along with understanding food to the degree that I do, because I deal with people that have health concerns, i.e. my friend who has cancer. her diet, it has to be restrictive. My friend that's gluten-free, it has to be restricted. This affects their overall health. And not that all food doesn't, but this could be life or death for them, opposed to someone's preference of wanting to eat different. Sometimes it's preference, sometimes it's mandatory. But having the education is obviously important for me as a chef. But I think that what really changed for me, I think, is the mentality around it. So we were all raised certain ways, and I know in the African American culture, we season our food. Everything is very highly seasoned. I started gardening during the pandemic with my son as just a form of a quiet activity to do outside, so we weren't cooped up in the house. And that opened my mind up to so much, because I never really thought about food other than it being fuel, right, for my body. I didn't really necessarily have a respect or reverence for it. When you're taking the time to pick the seed out, you're tending to the ground, you're opening up the ground, you're planting the seeds, you're nourishing the ground. Now you're watching it grow, you're weeding, you're doing all of this stuff to just grow a beet. Yeah, you're going to use every part of that food that grows out of that ground. And that's sort of what opened up my mind in terms of how I approach food, and also how I introduce other people to a different quality of life around their food. Like my daughter, she's 23. The way that I raised her, I hadn't always been consciously aware or a conscious cook. I like to cook, to serve a purpose. Sometimes you're just feeding a pain, or sometimes you're just feeding we're feeding an emotion. We're not eating out of necessity or out of nutrition. We're eating, yes.
But
that was prior. And I posted that. I posted that because I wanted people. It's like you said, Reese. It's interesting how people respond to you based off of how you appear, right? Mm-hmm. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I posted, because now you see me and I'm not even that size anymore, but you see me now and I'm teaching a certified yoga class, right? And people say, well, but someone, if I was this size and I was teaching a yoga class, they'd be like, well, they might be a little bit more comfortable coming into the room if you see yourself in me, right? But if you see me like this and you say, well, this is for fairies, yoga's for the fit and the fabulous and whatever. It's like, no, it's you have to find what works for you. That's why I said each person has their own fingerprint. They have their own way of thinking about food, but we also have our own triggers. We also have our own, we have our own emotional stuff that we work through, the time of day that we eat. So before you get locked into discussing the nutritional value behind something, you have to understand the why behind why you're doing it. Nothing can change. You can offer up all of these great things. Well, just drink the sea moss, or, eat whole, leave dairy, leave eggs, leave all of these things alone. But if you don't understand why you're doing it deeply, it will not last. It won't last.
So what do you suggest for when you said that we heavily season our stuff with salt and whatever? What are the alternatives?
So
and
okay,
not slap your mama seasoning with all that shit in it, but
I mean, slap your mama good though. Don't get it good.
It's bomb. But I'm asking when it comes to us, like the things we typically I guess throw in our foods. I mean, what are the alternatives? Or I mean, what do you have to say against people that are, if we're supposed to be overloading ourselves with salt and seasonings and stuff like that? I mean, what's the alternative?
The alternative is be easy on yourself, because so many of us want this, like we want it to happen today. I wanted to lose the weight today. I wanted to go from the picture you showed before, after, within a number of 90 days. Had I gone through gastric bypass surgery, that probably would have happened in a window of 90 days. But because I found something that I enjoyed, number one. I found a workout routine that I enjoyed that actually brought me more joy than it did not to do it. I was anxious and eager to do it. So that's why over in a year and a half, I lost 157 pounds naturally, because my why was greater than my will to do something to appear to be healthy to everybody else. I was watching my son on a playground at 5 years old, and I was 300 pounds. And I realized in that moment, I'm sitting on a park bench watching him climb this tower of Jungle Gym, and I couldn't do it. He's 5. I was like, oh my God, I'm not an active participant in my son's life. I'm a spectator. I don't get to enjoy life with him. I have to watch it from the sidelines. That's not the type of parent that I wanted to be. So my why had to be greater. That's what took me into the mind frame of, well, I'll lose the weight. Well, before that, it was like I wanted to be attractive. I wanted to be thin. I wanted to be all these things for all the wrong reasons. To what? Catch a new husband, to look successful to everyone else, when that is so fleeting. That is so fleeting. Had I done that, that would have changed the trajectory of my course as a chef, because we have to try food. I'm inspired by food. You know what I mean? So if I would have gone through gastric sleeve surgery, I wouldn't have been able to enjoy food the way that I do now. It would have stifled that. So I'm so thankful for every moment that I went through. But to answer your question, what you would do is, like, honestly, my response is take it easy on yourself. First and foremost, don't go jumping in head first thinking that everything needs to change. I'm going to be on a diet today. I'm doing a liquid sea moss diet for the next 90 days. Now, you know you're going to crash and burn. We tell ourselves these things because we're over zealous about, we want what we want so bad, we're not willing to wait for it. So that's why I said, be patient with yourself. Be honest with yourself. This is what I would recommend. If you're thinking about a different quality of life and having a different I don't want to call it a diet, but just a different relationship with food. Start in your kitchen. Okay? Yeah. Start in your kitchen. Think about the times of day that you're most unhinged. For me, it's midnight. That's why I can't have sugar in my house. Because I'm a fiend at night. So if I got sugar up in here at night, I'm gonna eat everything. I lose all will. So you have to be honest with yourself. Like, you have to take an internal inventory as to when you are most likely to emotionally eat or be triggered by the foods that you consume. What are you thinking about? What are you doing? When is it happening? Because only then can you make a determination on what needs to change. You cannot do it the opposite way around. You can't go from the outside in. You can't think, okay, as long as I have sea moss in front of me, I don't eat any meat, and I just follow this plan. That doesn't change anything about your mentality.
That's true, because at night, when I said that's my comfort food, that's my unhinged food at 11 o'clock at night, I'm sitting there killing a bag of chips, a whole bag of chips, a whole 480 calorie bag of chips. At 11 o'clock at night, I take my little medicine and I eat chip as food. Lee has gotten on me. She was like, what do you eat for dinner? And I said, oh, I'm going to eat these chips and I'm going to go ahead to bed. The wrong thing to do. I'm going to eat these chips and take that medicine. That's because that chip, well, I don't know, whatever is in potato chips is like a comfort food to me. It's sort of like, now that my grandparents are gone, it's my grandparents' hug to me. Yep. It's what used to soothe me. And if I think back, why? Because I be sitting up in their arms, up under them, and we eating chips or doing something, and that's what makes it seems like I go back into my safe place. A lot of y'all don't know I get depressed at night. That's probably why I have trouble sleeping, and that's probably why I have trouble resting, because my mind is just going, and my mind is all over the place. So unconsciously, I'm grabbing for the chips. I'm not even thinking about the chips. I'm grabbing for the chip, And this is I gotta. That's one of my mental lock up and break up. And I'm glad that you did say, Brandy, about what you're doing is for, so it can apply. So it's lifestyle changes. Like I used to, y'all can't tell by the size that I am now, but I used to dance. I used to go to line dancing classes. I used to love it every Saturday and around here because I used to be able to move. I was, light on my foot. I thought I was, getting it. I was getting it. And then when I got a little older and got sick, I wasn't able to move the same way. And
life happened. Yeah, life happens to all of us, and it changes the way we view it. After something traumatic happens, like the loss of your grandparents, or if you have an accident or a surgery and you become immobile and you can't do things that you used to do, then you turn to another comfort. You turn to something else to soothe that. So if we used Reese, thank you first of all for sharing and being vulnerable. I'm telling you, it takes a deep vulnerability and transparency with yourself first in order to administer any change that you want to see manifest into something lifelong. Not something like, oh, you'll hear people say, well, I'm trying to get my waist snatched for my birthday. It ain't a birthday gift. You can't snatch your waist for your birthday. You can't do it. It doesn't match. The why doesn't match what you're trying to do. You have to have a deep understanding as to why you're doing what you're doing. So for you to acknowledge, thank you for acknowledging that it's like a hug for you. It's a comfort for you. You're grabbing for that, not for the chip, but for the memory, for the peace and the comfort from your grandparents. My recommendation, like if I were you now, first thing was awareness. You just acknowledged why you did it. Most of us ain't even there yet to be able to even pinpoint, okay, hold on, I'm grabbing for these chips, not for the chips, but to really mask the pain. Because it could be chips, it could be weed, it could be alcohol at midnight. You don't know what people's vices are and when they strike. For you, it's 11 o'clock at night and it's a chip. My recommendation is to one, maybe I don't know if you journal. I know with you being a comedian, like I'm sure you got to write down a lot of material. But for me, that has been extremely helpful. Oh, I didn't know that was your book. That's incredible. But my recommendation to kind of like maybe look at it in another way is don't have access to the chips. You're going to feel like a crazy fiend at night running around trying to eat anything crunchy, okay? You're going to find anything crunchy. Stale bread is crunchy. You're going to probably try to eat it. But you have to change if it's there and it's at your fingertips, which society allows us to believe. Oh, you see a 2-for-$5 bag of chips at the store. You like, girl, I'm in there like swimwear. It's on sale. I'm grabbing both bags because now you think it's a value, right? It's an added value. I can get them 2 for $5. So now I have it in my house, and now I have access to it at a reach. So you have to stretch out the reach because you can't just change this thing overnight. You can't. You're not going to throw your chips out. Maybe you will. Maybe you might feel compelled, but you go through a cycle, right? You go through a cycle. So if the chips are right there next to your bed, maybe move them from your bed to the kitchen. And don't buy them. If you see the 2 for $5, maybe avoid buying the 2 for $5 and say, I still want to treat myself to some chips because I still like them. Instead of having them in the house at your fingertips at 11 o'clock at night, say chips are my comfort thing. And it's usually 11 o'clock at night. I'm going to try to adjust my time to having chips at 7 o'clock. And instead of me having them at my bedside, I'm going to walk to the local store. I'm going to put a little effort in behind those chips. And I ain't just going to buy any kind of chip because it's on sale. I'm going to get the best fucking chips, excuse the expression, that they got on the market. And then enjoy the chips. Because like we said, there's a mindfulness that goes behind the foods that we eat. We do 2 and 3 different things at the same time that we're eating. We're talking on the phone, we're driving our cars, or watching TVs. Before you know it, that bag of chips, that 2 for $5 bag, that family size bag is gone because you won't even remember eating it. You'd be like, how I'm down at the bottom already.
Yep.
Because you're not consciously aware of what you're doing.
And you know what? I have a pet peeve, and I think my son was doing it to me on purpose. I don't like broken chips. So if I get a bag and they're broken, I won't eat the chips. So I believe he would go and crunch them up, like, you know, damage the bag. So I keep thinking, I was like, I know that nigga done seen this bag. Ain't no this girl, he crunched this up. He be like, here, Ma, and throw me the bag. And I was like, what's this? And I'm like, I don't want this. I just, you know, it's the broken chips. I don't like the broken chips. So
but to use that as a euphemism for like the broken pieces in our life, you trying to clean it up with eating the chips, right? So you might be feeling broken behind the loss of your grandparents, and that is your segue into the comfort. So for me, I write. I love to write. I don't always feel energized to write, but sometimes when you're feeling that urge or you're having that emotional piece come up, like instead of going for the chips, like pause for 30 seconds. I'm talking like physically pause. You be about to go for the chips, take a pause, 30 seconds, take some deep breaths and ask your heart, like get to the heart of the matter, because nothing else can change until we understand the underbelly. That's why any change, not just with food, not just with understanding food or living a healthier lifestyle or having a better quality of life, it happens from the inside out. We can't change anything by what we put in. It has to, whatever's inside out, then evokes change. It won't from the other way in. So I don't care what type of diet you're ingesting. If you're still doing it mindlessly and you're mindlessly drinking your sea moss, then the chances of you probably going back to the chips are very high. But if you can't sit consciously with
I just want one of those ham and cheese sandwiches under Althea's boob. That's all I want.
No, we're not doing that today, Damien. We're not.
But you know what? But here's the thing. If you've gone from having a protein diet, like a carnivorous diet, to one of vegetables, and now you're into your veganism or you're into your new phase of life, I'm sure that I can't say this for sure, but I can almost say confidently that like not everybody on this call has been a vegan all their life. You've made some type of change. Exactly. So change and evolution happens. It's going to continue to happen. So being open to the waves and the ebbs and flows of what food looks like to you and what and how you interpret that to your quality of life is really where the change comes. But before you can really step your foot into changing everything, it has to happen internally. So maybe focus on your why first. Okay, well, why do you want to do this? Or as the gentleman said that was walking, I can't see the name there. Is it Jordan?
Jojo baby.
Oh, Jojo.
It's like Jordan. I'm like Jordan, though.
Okay. As Jordan or Jojo was saying, he's out taking a walk. A contemplative walk will change your life. When I'm out walking, some days you don't be feeling like walking, but that's my time with God. You know what I'm saying? That's my time with Source. Because when you think about it, when you're walking through a process, when you're writing, you're walking through your mind. You can't move too fast. Your pen can't move faster than your thoughts. Right? And your feet can't move faster than your mind. When you're in a car and you're doing all these different things, you're moving at the speed of lightning. So really it starts at the moment of like, I'm consciously aware right now that I'm moving too fast. I'm consciously aware right now that I'm consuming something that I know I ain't got no business, but I ain't got the will to stop. Stop right there and ask yourself why.
I got another question.
I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it do, but I be feeling for my little chip, because I try to go without it. Like I did to see if I could cut it and go without chips for 28 days. And I did, and I could, but I was eating carrots, I was eating everything else that was crunchy, trying to get that little satisfying thing. That's how I started eating microwave popcorn, which isn't good for me. Then I start cooking it on the stove, because to labor it, like you said, the labor of love, I'm gonna make me some home fresh popcorn. That'll limit how many times I eat the popcorn, because I won't be, doing all of that. But for me, it's like I'm really feeding our people so used to that drawing the nicotine. I'll eat a bag of chips a day. I used to eat several bags of chips a day, and I would eat chips in place of a regular meal. So something else is I gotta figure out.
You can finesse that, Reese.
My stomach.
You can finesse that with
They
vegetables.
said
You can
it was a slider. Wait a minute, Joe. They said that it was a slider food. That's why I eat them, because I have had issues when I got sick and everything. I can't digest food like I used to, and I vomit a lot. People, they don't know about that, but that's part of one of my sickness. If I eat too fast, it gets stuck. My stomach is only 5 ounces too, not because of gastric sleeve, but because they had to go in there and do some stuff just like the gastric sleeve with my colon, when I got sick and stuff. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying, she said it is because it's a slider food. It's an easy food. I'd rather eat junk than try to eat. I used to fuck chicken up. Excuse my French. I used to sit down and eat 5 pieces of chicken. Could be 5 thighs. Do you know it's hard for me to get through a leg? And if I eat that too fast, so it's not. How can I say? It's not so much of how many times to eat, and I try to eat only 1 time a day. It's that food that goes slide down and stay down. Fruit, I love my fruit. I can eat an apple. I can eat a pear. And I love my watermelon. But and I eat my vegetables, but I used to be really hard on meat, and because my body's not digesting it the same way, I can't enjoy the meat. I don't enjoy the food like I used to no more. And the sour
can we
cream
get back to your chips?
is the only thing that tastes like what they did 10 years ago, 20 years ago. All this other stuff, I can give it up because it does nasty. It don't taste the same. Equage don't taste the same. A steak don't taste the same. Hell, when you eating eggs, now eggs make me nauseous in the morning. And I love eggs. So that was easy for me to put eggs to the side and kind of give up off the dairy. I don't drink whole milk. I don't do that. So I can cut some things out. I need to know what the things that I can eat and how to incorporate. And I cannot move. I'm not as mobile as I used to because of I have problems walking and moving and stuff like that. So I walk with a walker and I walk with a cane sometimes. And then sometimes if I got enough painkillers, I walk with nothing.
I want to say one thing about your little geek thing, because I have the same thing with the chips and all that. I'm plant-based, but I still got my little. I love the Frito scoops. I get them, but here's what I do with them. I'll scoop up some peas and carrots and string beans in my scoop. You see what I'm saying? I'll have my crunchy, but I also have a piece of asparagus with it. You know what I mean? I'll bite the asparagus and I'll bite my crunch and I'll blend it like that. So you're not getting that all 100% concentrated food in your stomach and blending with whatever else you had during the day. You know what I mean? So I finesse it with a little bit of, and I cook. Sometimes I cook my vegetables. You know what I mean? And I have them in the refrigerator, and I just get them out and use them with my chips. Or I'll have my fresh vegetables, which I recommend the most. With the chips. You know what I mean? Because that's giving you so much more of a water base in the heavy concentrated food that we're geeking off of. So that's how I finesse it, and you can finesse it. You don't always got to cut everything out. You're doing good by cutting out all that poisonous, toxic foods. So you on the right track. You can finesse it. You can finesse your geek though. You can finesse it some.
Can I add?
I got just a suggestion, and you can agree or disagree, but in my lifetime, what I've seen, and I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a yoga expert, so that's not in my wheelhouse. But what I have noticed is that if your parents are big, you're bound to be big. If your parents are skinny, you're bound to be skinny. And it really doesn't matter what the hell you eat, because a lot of it is just
that's false. That's false.
That's false.
Okay,
That's
you
false.
can say it's false or not. You ever see any real big kids with a couple of skinny parents, or do you ever see
they're still eating off the same diet, boy.
Until you change something like you said earlier.
And that's also learned behavior. Learned.
But it's
taught
not.
by
That's not. that's not the case.
Hey, what's your what kind of certification does the guest
But
have?
then Brandy was going to say something. That
Can I
Brandy,
before we switch gears? Can I add to that? Is it Damon at the bottom?
Damien, yeah.
Oh, Damien, thank you for your feedback, number one, because if you like, we're all on this call, everybody's trying to get to a certain point in their own personal life. And, you know, Jojo, you brought up some good points. We all are trying to work this thing through. We all have our own interpretation and perspective on what a healthier quality of life looks like, or a high quality of life looks like. Something that has changed for me over the course of time, maybe within the last 4 years, was think about your shopping experience. Like you were talking about the scoops, or maybe the parents being, some of it is genetic. It's not all genetic, but some of it does have to do, is heavily weighed on genetics. Like my mom, she's 6'1", she's thin, but I then gained weight. I was 300 pounds because of depression. And, you know, I knew how to cook as a certified chef. So I went to food as comfort. But then I also understood that if I wanted to change my life, I had to change some of the habits. So for me, like, we all live a pretty fast lifestyle, right? Or it's pretty quick. You know, we're always kind of moving from one thing to another. We don't spend a lot of time just sort of sitting, or unless it's factored in, just like you have to schedule in, you know, a doctor's appointment or whatever. We have to schedule this time in to be more conscious. One of the biggest changes for me was when I know meal prep was like this big thing going on for a while. It was like, oh, meal prep. But who knows what they want to eat 5 days from now? Not many people. Or if you do, you're not going to, you don't want the same meal to be prepared on a Monday and then have it on a Friday. Me personally, I don't like leftovers. So something that was a big change for me was developing a habit once a week. Like, I go grocery shopping once a week. And whether it's at the market or the farmer's market, where I used to be a vendor, I would purchase my food whole, right? Bring it home on a Sunday and really create that time and space for myself. On a Sunday, I don't like meal prep because I don't want to have a piece of salmon and bell peppers and rice in my refrigerator for 5 days. Just using that as an example. What meal prep looks like to me is you're more apt to use a carrot that's already prepared. So let's say you like stir fries, you're a big Chinese person, your lean on me foods are Chipotle or something like that. You don't necessarily have to completely avoid that. You just have to be able to have these things on a ready. If you go to the farmer's market, you go to the grocery store, this is what I used to say. It used to be called get your shit together Sundays. So Friday night you didn't party, you balls to the wall. Saturday you went drinking and you had your chicken or whatever. And then Sunday you in the grocery store, you're trying to get in and out under 45 minutes. So you grab everything green you can find, celery, cucumbers, lettuce, you going on a salad diet, right? Then you get it home. You throw it in the refrigerator and it sits there, and now it's Wednesday. You ain't chopped one thing. Everything is still in it's still in the bag. You know what I'm saying? So getting into the habit of creating a time and space around where you devote this time to your nourishment. Really look at it as that. Like, this is my nourishment. I am not on it. You probably are not going to have 2 to 3 hours a day to prepare a proper meal for you or your family or however you eat, right? Because we're usually out and moving around. On a typical night, you might have 20 to 30 minutes to devote to food, whether you're doing that while you're in the house on the computer or whatever. You typically have about 20 to 35 minutes in an average household. Not many people are sitting around like an Amish table, like, we are gathered here, we are having an hour and a half, 2 hours. Tell me about your day. Like, this is not a movie script. This is real life. We are moving around. So my interpretation of meal prep became purchasing those whole foods on a Sunday. And only the foods that I like to eat, not what you think is good for you. So if you're someone that likes shredded carrots in your stir fries or your Chinese food, buy the carrots, prep your carrots. If you're somebody that likes onions, buy the onions, prep your onions. If you like bell peppers in your food, or you always seem to go to, like, these are your go-to veggies, think about those. Like, simplify the process. We get too caught up and hung up on the like the legality of food. Oh, well, what does this do to the body? First, you got to get around getting the food to you. Then you can focus on making the adjustments. Get familiar with creating that space and time. Devote 2 hours. So for me, Sunday night, I devote 2 hours. I go to the farmer's market. I get to know my provider. So if I want bread, I go to the artisan that makes bread. If I want pasta for a day that week, I go to the artisan that makes it. Is it more expensive? Yeah, but I'm not going to buy it because it's 2 for $5 or buy one, get one free. I'm buying it fresh. This person has devoted their life to making pasta. The best pasta that you can get, or the best bread. They devoted their entire life to making bread. Or this person that grows their vegetables. Get to know them. They're going to be the ones that are going to tell you what's in season. A lot of us, we go to the grocery store and we think everything we see is ready for us to eat right then and there. It's not. Think about the labels. Guatemala, Mexico, this, that. We are supposed to be eating local from our local farmers, right? But if you don't have access to that, shop. I'm not saying necessarily shop organic, but just get a bit familiar with things that are out of season. Like you wouldn't buy a tomato. There's red tomatoes right now sitting in your grocery store. We're dead in the middle of winter. Tomatoes are not prevalent. They're not growing right now because our body don't need it right now. Our body needs root vegetables right now because that's what's growing. So we have to adapt our bodies along with the seasons. But before you can even start to get into all of that, you have to first get a handle on how you do things now. So if you're used to being running around and eating on the go and stuff like that, then you have to focus your attentions on your intentions on how you can then change that habit. Okay, if I gotta eat on the go, and I don't want to eat at Chipotle, or I don't want to eat somewhere like that, then what can I do? What is truly within? Like, you got to get really real with yourself. What is truly something that I can devote my time and energy to change this? For me, it was soups. Making soup. Sunday, you got a lot of leftover vegetables and different things like that. I make a ton of soup. If you're still going to eat on the go, you can sip and go. And you can get a full nourishing meal in that soup. Everything you need is in that soup. You don't necessarily need to understand right now what that soup is going to do for the body, because all of these ingredients have come from its whole state. So back to my point about the refrigerator and what you have in there right now. Do an inventory. If there's something, if you're more likely, how likely are you to make a stir fry on a Tuesday night after you done ran around and you did 5 different podcasts and you done worked and you got your kids and you got basketball or football or whatever else you got going on? You're not going to come home and get out your peeler and your grater and start grating carrots. You might do that on Sunday.
There's E. coli in carrots now.
What's that?
Yeah, that was on the news this morning about the carrots, the organic carrots at Whole Foods and stuff. They all got recalled because of E. coli. Supposed to be the most healthiest organic carrots, and it's killing people.
Thank you for mentioning that, Damon. To my exact point, get to know your provider. Get to know your purveyors. Okay, food, aside from intimate sex, is the secondary most intimate thing you can do with yourself, right?
What? So I've been having sex all this time with my potato chips.
Yes.
Y'all never saw 9.5
vegetable. And I can eat potato chips because it's a root vegetable. I'm just
so it's an intimate act, right? This is the secondary most intimate thing you can do with your body. So what we put in it is what we get out of it. So why not? Why would we then choose to look at the grocery store as a place where we need to get in and out in 30 minutes? We are not looking at labels. You're not looking at what you say it was E. coli. You're not looking at that. Like, I'm trying to get in and out. I don't have time to read everything. But if you're not going to do that, then you're going to fall victim to all of these things that then pop up on the news later. So you almost have to treat your shopping experience as an intimate act. I'm now going into this store as a form of self-love. Not if I need to hurry up and feed myself. So don't do it on the busiest day of the week. Pick a Sunday, pick a Saturday, pick a day that you're, like my days off are Wednesdays. I like to peruse the grocery store. I like to peruse at the farmer's market. I want to look around. I want to touch stuff. I want to try stuff. I want to read stuff. I want to get more intimate. I want to get more intimate with my experience around what I'm now then going to bring into my house and prepare as meals for myself and my children. but it's all kind of like, it all intertwines into everything. I hope that what I'm expressing, I'm speaking from experience. And no, I'm not talking a lot about I'm not talking a lot about nutrition itself, because if you're talking to someone that still struggles with eating chips at 11 o'clock at night, or you can't go from this level, you're here.
Yeah.
You got to take a step at a time, and it's going to be over a course of time that you're going to start to say, well, she is making a little bit of sense. I do tend to rip and run it out of the grocery store and retrace my same steps and pick up the same foods because I'm trying to get in and out in under 30 minutes. And then we wonder why our diet doesn't change. So for me, what was a big change for me was starting to read the labels and only focus on one thing. If you're going to buy bread from the grocery store, don't have added sugar in your bread. Like you got to pick a vice. You can't just be like, I'm going to be enlightened, consciously eating, a conscious cook from day one. I have been enlightened. No, you have to start from the bottom up, from inside out. So for me, a big change for me, aside from growing some of my own foods and learning from those gardeners, was becoming a food vendor at the farmer's market. From there, I was like, you know what I said? I was like, well, I want pico de gallo tonight, right? It's the middle of the winter. I was like, what? I walk over to the produce stand and I was like, where's your tomatoes at? Now this is me, someone that understands food. Where's your tomatoes at? He looked at me like, seriously? Like, it's not in season. We wouldn't, you have to eat what's in season. There's certain things that grow at certain points of time. And sometimes I was completely oblivious. It didn't even cross my mind. But it wasn't.
Hey, Brenda, this Phil. Hey, I'm gonna have to go bounce off this call, but real quick, I'd like to thank Brenda, because I invited her to this call. No, it's Brenda. Her name is Brenda.
It says Brandy, but yeah, so I mean,
whatever. What's up, family? What's up, Damien? But like I said, whatever. Like I said, I'd like to thank her for coming on this call. Look like she in good hands, and I knew she would be a good addition to this Wellness Wednesday because we kind of had this same conversation on the call. I mean, as I was talking to her earlier in the week. And, like I said, I knew she'd be a good addition to Wellness Wednesday. But like I said, I just like to thank her for coming on board, sharing this stuff with us. And, besides being a great nutritionist, she's a hell of a singer. That's what drew me to her, So, her nutrition stuff was just an added bonus to her voice. So, but like I said, I'm going to bounce off this call. I may be able to jump back on it later on. But I'd just like to thank you for coming on, Brandy, and I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you later.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for all your feedback and your contribution to the call.
You don't have to leave. I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
We've covered a lot of things, and it's kind of hard to sum up nutrition over one time. As I said, it takes time to kind of unfold. So wherever you are in your journey, maybe just become a little bit more consciously aware around why you're there in that spot and sit with it. We sometimes get so critical and we pass so much judgment on ourselves. The news is telling us everything. We've got all of these different things coming at us at all times. It's really hard to sift through what's right, what's wrong. You have to focus on what is happening with you in your life right now and what you want to see in your life change. And if that's weight loss, if that's, changing your quality of life, or just becoming more consciously aware around the times you eat, why you eat why you eat what you eat, why you eat where you eat, you know what I'm saying? And maybe you can start to make small adjustments around that, opposed to just trying to change everything all under one thing.
I mean, everything has an alternative,
I'm gonna get a
so everything that people consume. I feel like if you what'd you say?
I heard.
I heard that. That's what I thought.
Hey, Molly, I just want to be used as a bad example on this show. I just want to be used as a bad example.
I don't think there's any bad examples. Honestly, Damien, you bringing up the carrot situation with the the recalls and everything. That's also important information because not everybody can get to the farmer's market. Not everybody's growing their own food. So it's very important to be mindful and be present. I want to maybe we can do this again, and I want to offer up an opportunity to offer an exercise to everybody. It's something that was really, really poignant in my journey at becoming a yoga teacher, right? We did it was called a chocolate meditation.
What?
A chocolate meditation. And what it is, you know, you buy a small piece of chocolate, you know, and you sit with it, and it takes literally 3 minutes to get through one piece of chocolate. So I'll be kind of administering this moment where we all have our chocolate in our hands and we're doing the whole bit, but we're not just consuming it mindlessly. It's supposed to bring awareness around how to consciously eat and how to enjoy the food. You go through all the textural changes and you use all of your senses to experience one piece of chocolate in hopes that you could apply that to other areas of your life. So instead of just driving and eating, maybe you start to pull over and eat your food. Even if you can't
pay attention to it. Yeah, I get what you're trying to say.
Holding prayer hands, even if you can't get to the dinner table, maybe instead of eating behind the wheel driving, you pull over and, you know, focus your intentions on solely that. But just small little nuances will make a big difference overall. Any one of us can devote 60 seconds of change to our life, even if we're sitting at a red light. You know, we be focusing on traffic. Most of us sit in traffic a lot. You take those 60 seconds in traffic and focus those 60 seconds on breathing, just being consciously aware of our breaths. I don't know how many of you know this, but on average, we take 60,000 breaths a day. 60,000 breaths a day. How many of those breaths are conscious breaths? How many of those breaths do we put awareness to?
Actually, with the meditation,
it depends on how many cigarettes I got.
Well, a lot though, because I sit outside and stuff on purpose. So actually, a lot because of just the conscious walking and being aware of someone who does smoke cigarettes and stuff, being aware of my lung capacity and everything, which is great. But yeah, the breathing part, I like to sit outside and you know, pique my senses, like watching animals go by. I want to feel the cold air on my skin. I want to feel the sunlight and stuff. So I do things to remind myself that I'm alive.
Yes, you know? and that's just it. Like focusing your intentions on one thing, opposed to us working as productive, you know, excellent human beings that we can simultaneously do 3 and 4 different things. That doesn't necessarily always serve us. It serves us in some areas, but then some areas we deserve to have just that moment be that moment. So, you know, shout out to you for being able to acknowledge that, you know, I want to feel alive. I want to know what that feels like today. So that's really the part that I wanted to, I hope that I've gone through it as experiences from someone being overweight and changing my lifestyle and changing sort of my relationship and the way that I look at myself. Really take your time with yourself. Don't be so judgmental. We can get harsh, man. We live in a very judgmental, critical society where everybody is kind of watching everybody else. What's your credentials? What do you do? How are you doing it? And all of this. And it's like, you don't want to take that energy back home and then apply it to yourself. You really want to find moments where you can be gentle with yourself and love where you at. You know what I'm saying? Like love where you are.
Yes.
What's that?
No.
You nailed it, girl. Love where you're at, regardless of all the other stuff. Just always, you nailed it, girl. I was waiting for you to come out of your mouth, and I knew it was coming, you yoga instructor. Yeah, you fucking nailed it. You gotta love where you're at, man.
Yeah, that's the only, you know, Damien, that's the only moment we have. I used to say at the end of every yoga. Yeah, I used to say until we breathe again, and breathe like life. Breathe like your life depends on it, because it does. Mm-hmm. Because it does. You couldn't even have your next thought if you didn't have breath in your lung. So because
I couldn't grab my next beer if I wasn't breathing. I mean, I'd be dead. So yeah, I mean, I gotta breathe. Get my next beer.
Yeah, but thank you so much, everybody, for having me on. And it's been a pleasure talking with you, Reese, Damien. You are a force of nature, my friend. I love your
info from
Please
Phil
don't
because
encourage him.
but I love
Thank you. Thank you, B.
a
Thank
more
you, B.
private level of changing
and
some
we all
things.
come from different walks of life, so we have to respect where we are and be able to support each other where we are. Because of that little pesky, criticism, it rolls up in there, and next thing you know, we're pitting ourselves against one another when we really should be looking for ways to identify with one another.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank you.
That's what I'm talking about. But we're going to talk, Brandy. Look, not Brenda, but Brandy. You don't say it's Brenda.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
Brandy
sorry.
says it's Brandy.
I'm dyslexic. I spelled it wrong.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit, Phil.
Brandy
It begins with a B. That's all I need.
Thank you so much. If anybody is interested in like having if they want to talk to me one-on-one, I'm willing to offer up. Look, at the end of the day.
Where are you located? Where are you located? That's all I want to know.
Arlington, Virginia. I'm a private chef. So if you are looking to think a new way, or you have questions about what you're currently doing and what's not working, I might be able to offer a suggestion. I don't know that it's going to be a quick fix or anything like that, but I'm able to offer up my experience and my time.
What settings do you offer your services in? Like, is it venues and stuff that you do as well? Like, is it larger spaces, like for venues, or you want to have people like want to do catering through you, or how does that work? I mean, I'll look into it. I'm gonna check out your website, but I'm just asking right now.
Yeah. So what I do on a full-time basis is I'm a traveling personal chef. The majority of my clients are seniors. So I go into their homes, I feed them. We offer meal prep services, but I also am subcontracted with the YMCA, where we offer culinary classes, teaching people how to feed themselves. And to get more familiar with whole foods. As Reese said at the beginning of the call, something that triggered her from childhood. Some of us decide not to get into the kitchen, or we don't have access to whole foods because we maybe something happened in the kitchen. Maybe the kitchen was a trigger place. You know what I mean? Not a place of happiness. For me, it was a place of happiness, but not for all people. Some people get burned with grease, or some people cut themselves at a very young age, and then they just say, I don't want nothing to do with the kitchen. I'll just eat out every day. So it really has to do with familiarizing yourself with what's available to you. And the space that I like to create, whether I'm coming to you or whether you're coming to one of my courses, is to create a safe space for you to feel comfortable. That's awesome. The main. It's comfortability.
That's what's up.
So it isn't about so much work.
And I also want to say, I thought I was going to have to leave, but I'm here for a few more minutes. But if you guys want to see Brandy, she's on the Barbershop Show, Toy Drive. I asked her to open up the Barbershop Show with some songs and,
awesome.
So if you want to meet her or see her live or hear her sing, check us out on December the 14th at 2 Mac Barbershop.
Hell yeah. Hey, isn't that Toy Drive? No,
that's the Toy Drive. That's the Toy Drive.
Cool. That's cool shit, bro.
Yes, it is.
Thank you guys for having me on. It was a pleasure to meet you all. Yeah.
Hey, it's our gift. You're a gift, honey. You're a gift.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So are you. I love platforms like this where we can all come together and we're not bad. There's enough battles in this world. We can all come on here for one sole purpose and learn something from one another. I know I have. Reese, thank you so much for your vulnerability and transparency today. That's huge, to be able to own your stuff and to share, because what you did today maybe set someone else free or allow them to know that they're not alone. So thank you for that.
We love our Reese.
Man, that's every Wednesday with Reese. I ain't new.
Keep sharing.
She always share. She keep us updated.
Next time I'm coming over there, I'm crunching up all her chips.
Unless it's
Taking them all because you don't like them.
We know the secret now. Crunch your chips up.
Yeah, that's exactly.
She ain't sharing no chips. She ain't sharing no chips.
Beast, that's just mean shit right there.
Yeah, I hope you come on next Wednesday. we had
Should be
no
blaming
more
her son.
questions for you.
Thank you
And
so
we can-
much for having me on.
I did.
This.
Yep.
I know, Twin.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
so much, Brandy.
Reese,
You're a badass.
Thank
can
you
come back
all.
anytime you want. It don't have to be on a Wellness Wednesday. Come back and sit in with us for some of the shenanigans. I said it right, shenanigans, because some of the shenanigans be some bull, you know. So you welcome any day of the week. I do this 5 days a week, Monday through Fridays. We start at 10:30. That's all I'm gonna say. They say from what time to what time? We don't know. Just 10:30 is the start. And you can jump in anytime you want.
We'll do the chocolate meditation together, and then we could all talk.
Like chocolate. Can we do it? Can I have a potato chip?
You can have.
Let him get a couple chips. It's just gonna take longer to eat that piece of chocolate than to eat that one chip.
That was a good idea. Maybe everybody bring their vice. That's an even good idea. And really sit with it.
I don't know if it's gonna work with a bottle of Tito's.
Why not?
I'm gonna need to rent me a U-Haul to bring these bitches over, you know. So
everybody getting nutrition.
Brandy, we all got issues.
None of us have, a golden halo above our heads. We all are out here doing the best that we can with what we know. And the idea is just to educate each other, but by our own experiences, because that's really that's the most authentic place you can speak from is your own experience.
Yeah. But this is what you get when you sit in a room full of comedians.
I'm not allowed to.
Definitely a beast, man.
I was telling out Dan Molly that it's a poor excuse for the view. It's a poor excuse for the view.
I'm sitting in a room of very intelligent, articulate, and focused and driven comedians. So whatever, you're here for a good purpose. That says a lot about your character. So thank you so much for offering up this.
Characters.
On a real note, you said something that stood out. You said the hour of the day when you commit your food felonies. That's what I'm gonna call it. Your food felonies. When you're out there committing that crime against that food and your body. So that plays a big thing. So and I believe I could see that. I could see why you say that, because when I get depressed is when I'm alone, is when I grab that bag of chips for the car. But when I'm out doing about potato chips, when I'm out doing stuff, when I used to have my boo, that's what it was 3 years ago. On the night, just like today.
Here we go.
Oh my Lord! We back to her. You have is your degree on that? Not today.
Is your degree in therapy or nutrition?
Not today.
Althea be self-medicating. Althea be self-medicating.
That chip, that's why I said I got to get back physical and fit. When I had a boo, I didn't suffer with the problems that I suffered with. I didn't hurt or I didn't feel it as much as I did 3 years ago. I was walking and breathing. I was one of the mall walkers at Iverson Mall, one of the walkers. I would walk and then I go into the mall and do my show on the mic and stuff. It was a different trajectory.
Shades of food.
Into that.
Shades of food. Y'all are funny.
Everybody shut up.
More damage because of the damage that I'm doing. So now I can't walk as brisk as I used to. I have to have mobility aids with me.
Because you holding on to his leg.
Yeah. See, that's what happened. Brandy, you good at that.
Aren't you missing a bunch
but I can also eat one time a day. Now, somebody told me that you don't even have to eat every day. Is that true? How many times should we be feeding ourselves? Is it okay for me to eat that one time a day?
So you have to adjust and adapt to your body. Maybe your body performs best on 1 meal a day. Like some people perform best on eating 5 to 8 small meals a day. It really, it's not a cookie cutter fix for anybody. It's just not. Your body, your style, your makeup is going to be unique to you. just
Can
as
I ask
every
you a question?
on this call. You know
Yeah,
what I
go
mean?
ahead, please.
People
Please.
don't do breakfast. Some people skip lunch. Some people don't eat after 6. It's really what is attained to your body. You cannot pick up somebody else's, adapt somebody else's habit and have it be successful for you. You really got to get clear about when the best time for you is. Maybe you're busier during the day, you eat maybe later at night. Maybe you're busier at night and you eat more during the day. Like, it really depends on your lifestyle. Everyone has a different, you know what I mean? But you said something interesting, Reese, that made a lot of sense. And everything you said is true, because we fill ourselves with all of these things, whether it be partners, you know, we busy ourselves to keep our mind off of what hurts us sometimes, instead of sitting with the pain and letting it come up. We fill it with drugs, alcohol, sex. We fill it with all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Sometimes there's not even enough hours in a day. We want to cram so much in that we're moving from one thing to the next. There's really no digestion happening of any kind, let alone the food. We are not even doing the moments well. So it's like, you know, when you're finished with a comedy set, you sit with yourself, you go over it, you know, you feel free. One of my clients, Raymond is his name. He's 92 years old. I work with a lot of elderly clients, so I feel like they're giving me a glimpse as to what my future could look like. And they always are dropping gold nuggets on me. And one thing he said was, I said, well, how do you stay so well? Like, how do you stay? You're 92. You've got all your wits about yourself. I'm here to help cook because you have neuropathy. You can't get in the kitchen as much as you used to. Like, how do you stay well? And he said, I move at a soul pace. And I was like, explain, right? Yeah. Elaborate on what a soul pace is. And he goes, it's not the pace of the world. It's the pace of my being. So I can't move at the pace that the world is instructing me to move by. Reese can't move by Brandy's pace. Brandy can't move by Molly's pace. Molly can't move by Damien's pace. You have your own soul rhythm. And you know who got it down pat? You know who got the soul rhythm down pat? Children. So if you have kids, pay attention to your kids, because I don't know how many of us are parents on this call, but how often do our children hear us say, come on, hurry up, right? We're hurrying them. And like, naturally, that's what we do, because that's how we've been conditioned to believe, that we need to hurry up and rush. And when he talked about that soul pace, he focused his attentions on kids. And now he's in his golden years of life. So now he can only move at a soul pace. But he said one thing that has served him in his overall quality of life is moving at his pace. Kids got it down. So the next time you find yourself hurrying or rushing your kids, maybe it's a conscious moment where you can slow down and figure to see why you're rushing.
Amen.
Brandy, quick question. So, you know, I've talked to quite a few people, and the other thing that I found that people make mistakes is by, and I kind of feel like you're hinting to it too about a lot of things that you're saying, but setting realistic expectations that are for you. You know what I'm saying? You can't really always go off of what everybody else is doing, but you know yourself, you know your body, and you know what you're doing wrong. You know, just set small goals instead of everybody's looking, oh, I want to lose, 50 pounds. How about you starting with losing 2 pounds? You know what I'm saying? And start there, opposed to setting these extra, oh, I'm gonna lose 50 pounds. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. From now on, I'm not eating after 6. Instead of making 10 rules, start with 1. Start with one thing changing your diet, But go ahead.
To take that a step further too, I like what you said about like setting realistic goals, because honestly, that's the only thing. Getting real with yourself is truly it. When you talked about, instead of trying to lose 10 pounds and focus on losing 2, why don't you just focus on why you want to lose weight? Do your knees hurt? Do your back hurt? Like, there's something you want to do in your life that your weight is hindering you from doing, or you're losing mobility, not because you're overweight, but because the pain in your knees is too great to do it. Because you could be, I've seen very light on their feet, agile people that are 350 pounds and don't have knee problems. Are you suffering in your sleep? Do you want to have a better quality of sleep? Really focus your attention and energies on the quality of life you want to live, opposed to what you look like. Like, we all are going to age. We're not all going to look young, youthful like we look right now. You know, we're going to age, and hopefully we age with grace. You know, I pray every day I age like Raymond, who is 92. He got all his wit, he got all his teeth. You know what I mean? These are the things that I'm like, I want that. So what do I got to do now to order to prevent this? And I get a lot of wisdom out of my clients. You know, another one, Larry, who is he's a sixth in the nation triathlon winner. He was sixth in the nation back in the 80s, right? He's in his 80s now. But he always talks about you know, like all of these gems in life. And he says, you know, the best advice I could give to anybody is take care of yourself now, because if you are blessed enough to see 92 years old, you want to do it with as most of your mobility as you can. So he says, you know, I would have taken better care of myself had I known how to live this long. We all want to live long lives, but longevity usually is not what's on the forefront of our mind. It's getting snatched for our birthday. Or appearing you want to be on Instagram with your shirt off. It's like, you can do that in many different ways behind the scenes and appear healthy to the world. But what's that doing for your quality of life? You got to think it's really wrapped around integrity, the integrity of your own life. Yeah. So are you doing it for you, or are you doing it for somebody else or something else? So get
lock it in.
If
it benefits, make it work.
I met a lot of older people, you know, and I'm in the vegan world, and I met a lot of older people that eat meat, you know, and they starting to switch up. I'm like, you 80 years old, why you wait this long to come vegan? And what people get confused is, because I hear a lot of people like, well, my aunt, she lived to be such and such years old, she ate meat all her life. That's not the same meat, you know. So people get it confused. That 92-year-old man, when he was growing up eating meat, he wasn't eating the same meat that we get from our grocery stores with all these drugs and stuff pushed into it. So I don't want people to get confused with thinking that they can eat this meat that's out here now and live as long as him, because that's not going to happen. You know, these food got a lot of drugs in them that causes these cancers and things that you said you got to make special meals for these people because the food that they was eating previous to that. So the only reason they switched their diets because something dramatic happened. When I talk to people, I try to talk to them for that don't happen, to prevent that. Before we get there, before the doctor tell you got to go vegan or you got to go plant-based, because eventually that's what they all do. You know, and I talk to Christians, Muslim, all of them eat 10 different, you know, but in the Bible even preached in God's word, he said he give you everything in seed, you know, birth fruit from the tree. He never mentioned meat. You know, so even us all being human, we know in the outer, if we all get shot, we know what damage it can do to some people. But it's just weird that in the inter, we feel like we just so much different. Like, nah, if I fall off something, I can break my leg. The same thing can mostly happen to you. You feel the same. But for some reason, we feel like if I eat McDonald's and the next person eat McDonald's, his genetics might be different. He can eat it. I can't. No, none of us should be eating it, you know. So I get it. It's hard to just give it up, because when I first gave up meat, I was sweating bullets. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, man, I got to eat something, but I fought it and I fought it. Once I got through it, I was good. And I talked to people who had withdrawals, getting off drugs. It sounded like they went through the same thing I went through. I'm like, damn, that's what. And that let me know this food is drugs. We got meatheads out here. Like we say, crackheads, sugar heads. I'm a sugar head. So the last thing I've been working on is getting away from sugar. I do agave, they got coconut sugar, they got all type of options. But at one point I didn't know that. But now that I know that, I can use honey. And that's why I don't like to say vegan, because vegans don't like me to use honey. I'm like, why not? Because it belongs to the beast, but it's good for the body. So I like to say I'm plant-based. So I encourage people, you know, to put down the food. We do challenges on here. Can you go a week without eating meat? Reese completed it. You know, can you go 2 weeks and just see how it helps the person? I don't say just go straight vegan, because that could cause health issues. It could cause you to get dizziness and end up sick. But I'm saying that you should lay it off, like B said, 2 pounds, 4 pounds at a time. Okay, let go to chips. Later, let go to M&Ms, let go to Snickers. You can let go these things slowly. You ain't got to let go everything, but eventually you will. You know, eventually you got down, you lost that 300 pounds, but it took time, and it can take time to let go the meat. But a lot of people goal not to let go of this food. It's just to slow down. But eventually the doctor's going to tell you, you can't eat it. Then they got to see Brandy, and Brandy got to cook them a special meal that they can't eat. But it's all about money. The more you look into it, the food industry get most of the drugs that comes over here across, and they pushing it into the food. So I just look at anybody, why you eat meat? They say the nutrients. Okay, well, if that animal eating the plants and stuff that why not just eat the plant? Why go through the middleman? We going through an animal to get the nutrients and stuff that the body need instead of just going straight to the source when it's right there. You know, so I just be wanting people to look more into it, because if you know, you should do. And there's a lot of people that know and don't do. They can talk about it.
People make every day. And I love what you said about having an accountability partner, like where you set up a challenge and everybody agrees on that challenge, and have an accountability partner, because we don't have to do things alone. We really don't, but you have to be vulnerable enough, like Reese, and you have to tell the truth about where you are, because if you don't, then you're only going to serve yourself to a certain point. So again, I can't stress enough how transparent, Reese, your transparency right there is you're farther than you think you are. I'll say that. You're farther than you think you are. So give yourself credit where you are, because it takes a person of a lot of bravery and courage to talk about the things you talked about over this call today. No, not a lot of people are willing to bare their entire soul for the world to judge and whatever. Thankfully, you're in a safe space on this call where you have supportive people around you, that you're able to speak freely about the things that are keeping you or holding you and that you want to get free from. So thank you for that. And thank you for the piece on accountability. Like, give yourself an accountability partner. Call somebody. Hey, I'm struggling today. You know what I'm saying? This is hard for me. This is hard.
People treat their dogs. I see my dog can't eat that. Why not? It get them sick. Well, why you eating the shit? You know, I see people treat their cars better. Like, oh, it's a Benz. I can't put regular gas and they need premium. Well, you a Benz. Put premium in you. It just never makes sense that people treat material things around them and the things that they have better than their own bodies, you know. And I just want people to be aware that, you know, I'm not perfect. I still smoke. I don't really smoke cigarettes or anything. I smoke marijuana, but that's something still grow from the earth. You know, it still grows seed, but now ain't no seeds. They doing chemical stuff. So it's a lot of natural things that even the fruits, the bananas, I thought all those was natural. You know, then you look into it, a lot of them got GMOs in it and they was remade in labs. You know, the apples ain't real. You go look up a real apple, a real orange, all these things not real. So we already not getting the natural nutrients that we supposed to get, but we can get some of it from it. So for them to throw all this other poison in it, it like don't even make sense. The cows, you can't supply 3 burger chains just in DC alone. McDonald's got burgers, Wendy's got burgers, all the rest. It's not enough meat to go around. Where they getting this meat from? Everybody don't understand. Meat don't taste like nothing. It's only when you season it. Chicken don't taste like nothing. Chicken was created too. It's not natural.
But that's the thing. When I said I could give up, when I was a kid coming up, I used to love chicken and pork chop and steak. It don't taste the same now. I don't know if my taste buds changing as an adult.
That too.
The purity of the food, the integrity of the food has changed over the years. Like my son would never know what it's like to taste a good fresh chicken that just freshly came off the farm, and they bring it down. And the bird. I mean, sorry to get all graphic, but because they don't taste the same way we taste. I was fortunate to come along in a time where food was less toxic. Whether it was farm raised or whatever, they put pure ingredients in the food. It didn't last long as the shelf life wasn't as long. Now you can keep bread and butter and all this stuff for months. When I was coming up, a week or two tops was the tops. Now they got even a cow's milk that don't spoil. Like, I'm like, what do milk last 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks? Well, I don't know. What they added to that, then that lets me know that, oh, this stuff not real. Oh, this stuff not right. Or the longer the shelf life, the more poison they got into it, because they had to put something in there to make it last that long. So whatever additive ingredients they put into the food, that's why I could switch. I think I could switch over, because I remember what food used to taste like. It don't taste the same no more. It don't taste as good. So, and And even when you cook your vegetables now, some vegetables don't taste as good. Like I like to go to the Amish market. I like to go get the fresh vegetable because it tastes different. Even when you're getting your chickens out of the Amish market, it tastes different. It may not be as big as the one in the grocery store, but it also ain't got that yellow film over it, that fatty film when you cleaning it and you scrubbing off fat and your hands get all greased. And I did a test. I be doing secret challenges on my own. And the food out of the Amish market, and like you said, the Mennonites, when you go down St. Mary's or the Dutch Amish, it is fresh and it's different than it is in the grocery store. It really is. I mean, like I said, I'm not lying about the size of the chicken. The way you're going to pay $2.49 for this leg quarters, where you may only pay 99 cents for these leg quarters. These leg quarters are bigger, but they got so much fat and yellow film on it. You say, I don't want that, and it tastes fresher from the farmer's market. It really do. It's a little more. It's hard when you're on a budget when you ain't getting no food stamps, because not every stand at the Amish market take food stamps now. So they don't.
You feel like people should live to eat or eat to live. I feel like I eat to live, but I know a lot of people out here, they just live to eat. They already know what they're gonna eat tomorrow. They already got taste for something later. And I just feel like if most people focus on eating to live, eat will help them get out here and get them strength. They'd be better than just living to eat just because, oh, that's my meal. I love me some ribs. I love these steaks, but that steak don't love you. It ain't giving you back that love. How do you feel about that?
Sure.
Hey, Molly, I just sent you a video if you can pull it up. I think it's relevant to the conversation. I just sent you a video.
Damien, if it's comedy for the cure, he gonna clip you right on off.
Good question.
No, it's not comedy for the cure. It's about meat.
But
I don't.
Also, this Wellness Wednesday segment and talking about wellness overall, we're focusing a lot of attention around the food. Wellness is a state of mind. Like food is a big factor because we need food to live. So that it starts with what we put into our bodies, but also don't forget about the other senses, like what we fill our minds with, what we're watching, how we're surrounding ourselves also plays a part into how we perceive life. So, wellness is in its entirety is a state of mind. All of it is it's all under there. So we got to also guard ourselves up against a lot of other things too. But I know to this point, when it comes to food, it's important. It's important because you're important. We're important. So we should take it seriously.
Yes.
I think I listen to my body. Your body tells you when you need to eat. I never really subscribe to you have to eat 3 times a day and you have to do this and you have to do that.
Exactly.
I definitely believe in fasting and giving your body time to actually get rid of all that you're consuming. If you are someone who says the excuse is the grocery store, I mean, if you are limited to your area, I understand that, or your access. But at the same time, there's always my friend works at a butcher shop, whether it's black owned or not or whatever. But anyway, as opposed to getting your stuff from Food Line or something like that, go where they're processing it right then and there. There is no time for them to insert it with all types of chemicals and all that. There is no. So there's vendors for people who say they eat eggs and stuff all the time. There's plenty of vendors who actually deliver, can give you a pickup point to actually get things like fresh eggs or vegetables, whether you're in the city or not.
Yeah.
But no, like I said, I believe in fasting. I'm not gorging on biggie bags and 4 for $4s and little meal deals from pickup places. Cook your stuff at home. I've never. A lot of the research is what people are not doing. So a lot of people are not really wanting it like they're saying they want it, because it's. I can call somebody on the other side of the earth right now, so you can't tell me you can't look something up.
Wanting it, but know where to start. Like there's so many starting points to where you are versus where you want to be. You could go at it so many different ways, and I think that's what paralyzes us. Most of us, it's like, I was overweight for 3 years. Before, my weight had always fluctuated up and down, but I never reached 300 pounds before. And when I got there, I was like, holy shit, I don't know how to get down from here. You know what I mean? Even though I had the wherewithal, I had the skill set, I technically sound as a chef, but I didn't know where to start. I didn't know where to start. And sometimes it takes like someone like a platform like this, someone just tuning in and just hearing all of these different perspectives and where people are. And hey, I shop here. My friend has a butcher shop where he's chopping it fresh. Okay, that's something to think about. That's food for thought. You know what I mean? Or when Reese is bringing all of her moments of like emotional eating. Well, that's a thought. Maybe I never thought about how my eating is connected to the pain of losing my grandparents. I never thought about it. So what a great platform for food for thought in every area of wellness.
Amen.
Yeah, understood.
Amen.
Understood.
But
Anybody else want to answer Molly's question? Oh, sorry.
Here, but I cannot thank you enough. I am speaking to myself first. When I'm on these calls, I don't like to, it doesn't help to point fingers. Like I got enough pointing. What do they say? You point a finger at somebody, you got 3 pointing back to you. So starting with yourself, figuring out what works for you. You guys have been a joy. I've enjoyed listening to you and being able to share and express in a positive space like this. Thank you so much for what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing and take it all the way. Take it all the way.
And you are the sunshine, buddy. You are the sunshine.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Reese, I love you. I'll see you December 2nd.
Yes, you will. And you family now. So you
I know.
might want to the family.
I can't wait to give you a big country hug. That's one thing I miss about being in Pennsylvania. Is like we used to hug, like for real hug. Here it'd be like you can test people out a little bit. And you be like, is it okay? Is it all right? Because I hold on for a while.
That's okay. So do I. Molly will tell you. So do I.
I love you. Thank you all. Really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
That was a beautiful treat. Thank you again, Phil Page. Thank you to Brandy Sunshine, Chef Brandy Sunshine, and the food nutritionist. Thank you so much, because that was a needed conversation. It was like a breath of fresh air. It was so much different than y'all listening to me, watching the video, and then we're discussing. It was so mundane. And I am so glad that we had a certified person on the Trey. Thank you. Thank you very much, Trey.
I don't want to be thanked or anything. I don't want to be thanked for it. I just thought it'd be good to do.
Just thank you for the awareness. No, but you was like, wait a minute. So I appreciate that.
Because
I thank all of my cast. I thank everybody that's always on this panel, because it's you that adds, that make the show. It's Beast that add to the show. And I know Beast know a whole bunch about yoga, because Beast's wife Vicky is a yoga instructor herself, and she knows the Beast Rodney know all this stuff firsthand. And thank you for not showing out and making a lot of us seem silly, because Rodney probably know half this stuff. And David Green. David, keep snoring.
Yeah.
David Green, I heard you snoring. I smelled your napping twisted, David. David, you were sorely missed. You were sorely missed last night on the no. You could have did the no cuss episode on there. I mean, it was great. I'm for 5 minutes or 5 quick seconds. I'm gonna talk about
what's this?
Saucy in the City Super Game Show. They cheated last night. They always cheat. I feel some type of way because they always label me as a bully or strong arm. People don't even know me. First time meeting me, but they'll get a negative press when they say, you better not disagree with Reese. She know all the answers. She gonna do this to you. She gonna do that to you. That's not right, because I don't talk about nobody up on that thing. I let people find out for themselves. So if I'm getting ready to play a game with nobody I don't know, and then I hear the other contestants talking about, oh, she bossy, you better not get nothing right, she gonna vote you off, she gonna do this. That's intimidation. That's voter intimidation without you even doing anything. You already turning people against me. and I ain't said a word. I do not like that. Again, you don't know.
Get him, Reese. Get him, Reese.
Let's just play the game. So when you do that, you stacking the chips up, and I don't, so up there she go. And then when I call out BS, you say, "Oh, there she go, there she go."
Come on, Reese is part of the game. Reese, don't act like it's not part of the game.
That's not the game. I don't throw blood on
game.
nobody.
It's Survivor. Don't worry about it. You throw them everybody, throw them under the bus.
And what if I would have did that? Oh, you pretend to be this way, but you really that way. Watch out for this.
Hey, Reese,
I don't say nothing.
Reese, you just sound salty. You just sound salty. You sound salty.
That's what they always say.
You know what she sound like? That little girl who's waiting for her grandfather to come and bring that gift.
Louisa is not here. Trey, could you read chapter 3?
I'm sorry, hey, Reese, before you go into that, if you don't mind, I just want to talk about something real quick because unfortunately I do have to go.
Okay.
If that's cool with you, last night we had for Dad Mentality, we had the premiere of it's called The Knox, and it was done by Matty Ice's son, and it's a mini series that is an animated mini series. So, hold on, I'm trying to pull up the link. I'm gonna put it in the thing, but hey, we always talk about supporting kids and people who are not out here robbing, stealing, or doing this. What this kid did last night, I was really surprised. I mean, he's like 20, probably 23.
He's not a kid, he's a young man.
Hey, he's a kid
I
to
just
me.
want to let you know, Beast, I want to let you know I watched that, and that was fucking awesome, dude. That was fucking awesome.
Yeah, so this young man, he's still a kid to me, so I'm gonna call him a kid. You ain't got to change my opinion. So anyway, this young man is doing something different, new, and I watched it last night. It was awesome. I'm encouraging everybody to please just follow and subscribe. Every week he'll be dropping an episode. He's even having a second season that he's starting to film now. And just please take a look at it, watch it, subscribe, because I mean it was really, really good. I was actually pleasantly surprised.
Is it cartoon?
It's an animated series. He made all the animation. The voices are like his and his family, and stuff like that. And the story so far is really, is really good. It's funny. It's creative. It's everything that we talk about, that we want kids out here doing and should be supporting. He creates art. He creates music. He does all these things, and this creation is something that I've, we've seen it before, like the Boondocks or Simpsons and stuff like that. But the content so far is, to me, like I said, it reminded me of every conversation I had in high school. You know what I'm saying? You'll see a little bit of all those conversations there. The concept and everything was really put together. So, please, I put the link on here. Click on that link.
YouTube.
Yeah, click on the link. Go to the YouTube. Subscribe. We'll have a watch party next Tuesday, same time. If y'all want to check it out, hopefully, I don't know. Brenda probably still has her show. We'll have her show going on, but I would love for y'all to, even after the show, just please check it out and support this young man. It's really creative. It's really good, and just check it out and support him, man. We always talk about that on this show. So every time I'm be on here, I'm definitely going to bring it up to get as much followers and stuff behind it, because I kind of know. Go ahead. What about how you feel, Molly?
It live. That joint was lit. I ain't even expect that at all. I thought you was about to show me his music video or something. When I seen the animation, I was like, wow. The lines still stick out to me with the little boy telling some man, I always do my homework. He told you'll never turn it in. He said, man, I always do my homework. I just don't turn it in. I was like, what? So he got some funny little lines.
Then the dude looked at him and said, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard.
Yeah, it's cussing.
So,
like normal conversation that you normally have, in the community. But for him to actually bring it to life in animation. I was like, how the hell? And it took them 2 years, you know, just to really get this thing where it's at. In the first episode, you can see he said in the beginning he was a little rough. I'm like, it look amazing just the first episode. So I can't wait to see the second and the third, because he said his graphics and everything get better. He started to learn a little better, you know, learn how to do things. So shoot, I can't wait. You know, I'm gonna be there for the premiere every show if I can.
Absolutely. I can bring it
Yeah,
up.
you
Yeah.
can put it in the private channel, pull it up, either one I do.
I'll pull it up right now. Hold on. Let me we'll do the preview, the
Okay.
trailer.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm about to
joint
share
is
it with
good.
y'all.
I was like, what the hell? I did not expect this. It's like,
let's see.
It is good, man. And thank you, Beast, for giving me the invite. I love watching it. Every bit of it. Every bit of your show.
If I gave you an invite. Got you. All right, we here. Hold on.
well, I wait. I see it though.
Hold on. No thanks. Let me get it back to the beginning real quick.
See it.
All right, you gonna pull me up?
Full screen?
Yeah. Should be there. There we go.
All right, saying put it in full screen.
Oh, put it in full screen. I got you. All right. Here we go.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yo, what's good, Jay? What's up, Mello? Man, our party was crazy last night. Nah, for real. I'm just waking up.
You're late. That's the 10th time you've been tardy this month.
Shit, he told me he be having that. Having what? That Zah nigga. Hey, Fantasia.
Hey, you all?
Shit crazy out here. That's why I got me some protection. Is it loaded? Hell yeah, it's loaded. What's the point of carrying an empty gun?
You heard about his little business? I just want him to be safe and smart about it, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Let's meet up tomorrow after school so we can talk about how we're gonna handle this. I just wanted to come by and check on you. I most def appreciate that, bro. Not for real. That's love. So y'all ready for tonight? Yeah, I'm ready. Same plan, right? I think we should just confront him. This nigga scared. Nah. Hey, don't I know you from somewhere? Who, me? You think he can take my shit and get away with it? Fuck no. Chill, nigga. I don't make promises. Hey, there you go right there. I know you heard me, nigga.
Oh, man.
That is dope.
So, like I said, that's the trailer, but let me tell you something. That trailer don't do it justice, because watching the actual episode, man, it was amazing. It was really, really good. Trust me, I wouldn't be on here preaching it if it wasn't really, really good. You know what I'm saying? So please watch that episode. Trey, did you watch the episode?
No, not yet.
Not yet. All right. Yeah. Watched it, but Damien said he watched it. You know, take that with a grain of salt. But
no, I watched your show when you put it up there.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah. I'm sending it.
That was yesterday, right? Yeah, I was watching it.
Yeah, but like I said, I was greatly impressed by the actual storyline, by where it's going and what he's doing. So, you know, just want to give him definitely a shout out. Please follow him. It's Art by Guapo. It has a 4 instead of an A in the Guapo part. But, you know, check him out. And, you know, if you want any work, he does commission work, stuff like that. And for anybody who wants to do some personal artwork for their shows or whatever the case may
You
be.
did jobs as well, right? The intro
Yeah.
to Damn Mentality.
Yep, he did the intro to Dad Mentality. He did the music, and he did the artwork.
Here, I'm old
I've been
school,
wanting
Beast.
somebody-
I got a piece of paper and my pen.
right.
What is his YouTube page so I can follow him and subscribe and all that?
Art by Guapo. So it's ART.
Yeah.
BY.
Yeah.
GU the number 4 PO.
And that's on the YouTube page, right? That's where you go to subscribe.
page. Yep. YouTube page or Instagram. And the
All right.
show is called The Knox. DAKNOX. The Knox. And you can follow that on there. And you know, Reese, I definitely want you to follow it too, because he said next season he want to add some more voices. You know, and
Okay.
anybody who want to do any voice acting and stuff like that, you know, I'm down for sure.
I'm
Sure,
down with
sure.
because I like that because I wanted to do. I have so many ideas, but I don't know how to do the artwork of stories. And
Yeah.
maybe I can collab with him and he can bring my stories to life.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%.
that's cool shit.
You know,
100%.
since
That's what he
I
does.
don't have a film crew that can pay hire actors, maybe we could draw some up.
Well, you got actors. You just got to get somebody to come tell us when to come out there. You know, you can get actors. You had a whole crew of actors. You know what I'm saying?
Animation ain't free neither. That gonna cost money as well. Might cost just as much or more.
You said what now?
So animation ain't free neither. That shit
Oh
cost.
nah,
You
it
ain't got to
costs.
do 2 years.
I had to
of
pay
work.
for my animation. Trust me, I know.
He said it might cost just as much or as more as filming in
Yeah,
real.
animation depending on how long the story. That take a lot of editing and
Hey,
work.
LA just put a
It's
comment
harder
up
than
that says
filming.
the YouTube is Denox and then the Instagram is
Yeah,
Art
we
by
seen the
Guapo,
art
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, there it is. Cool.
Mhm.
Thanks, LA.
There you go. Thank you.
That'd
Sir.
be
But
lit.
yeah, the Knox said, please check it out. Follow it next week. We got episode 2. Once you watch episode 1, I'm telling you, Reese, when you get off the show, watch it today. Once you watch episode 1, you're gonna be all in.
We're gonna watch it in the back.
You're gonna be all in because I mean it is really, really good. So you know.
Before we forget and we missed out, we got the 3rd chapter, and Trey has been so graciously he agreed to read the 3rd chapter for me since Blue Phoenix is not with us today.
Today it's already 2 hours in. Why
Yeah,
y'all
but
be
the
waiting
3rd
so long?
chapter, how big is the 3rd chapter?
I
We'll
don't
split
know.
it up.
I gotta go.
It got
And I
a
want
little,
the rhythm.
it's a little longer now. But
Yeah, we gotta read from the beginning of the show. Cause once we start reading, that's another hour. We already 2 hours in.
of conversation behind. Yeah, I feel you.
It don't
Okay.
take
Hey,
no that long.
hey, Trey, how about you do this? Hey, Trey, how about you do this? How about you read the first 2 paragraphs? Or the first page, just the
You
first
can read
page.
what you want. I just probably gonna have to leave from the screen. That's all. I might not be at the screen. I'll be back, but I won't be at the screen the whole time in case y'all call me.
No, okay, I feel you.
But Richie not doing. She not.
Right. Okay.
Just the first page, right?
All right, not a problem. Shades of Blue by A.M. Morning. This is chapter 3. It's called Fool. It says a week or two passed before Mom told Michael she was expecting her second child and that he was the father. She had to prepare herself for a reaction to his news. Although he had he had professed to love her more than the breath he breathed. She wasn't sure of his intention. He told her he wanted to be with her forever and a day, but she was still nervous about telling him. My mom finally decided to decided to just come out and tell him, letting chips fall where they may. She convinced herself she didn't care. If Michael decided to reject the idea of becoming a father, then welfare could help her take care of her babies. She was grown now and didn't need anybody. At least that was her thinking. The next day, as Michael and Mom walked across the empty football field on the way to school, she stopped right under the goalpost where he first kissed her. Holding his hand, looking into his eyes, my mom said, "Score, you're going to be a daddy." Michael stood with a blank stare as if his mind went straight out of space. I mean, it was some far out news she gave him. Finally, he checked back in and said, "Okay." He decided to drop out of school and get a GED and join the military. Then he asked my mama to marry him. She was over the moon with herself. She finally snagged one, her very own Prince Charming. When she got home, she couldn't wait to share the news with my grandparents. My grandmother was happy. "Good, he can take care of you now, and you can get the hell out of my house," my grandmother said. But granddaddy wasn't supportive. He said, "Patricia, you're making a mistake. You don't have to marry that boy if you don't want to. We will help you take care of this child, just like we're helping you take care of Blue." My grandmother snapped back, "Like hell we will, Walter. If this child wants to ruin her life and keep bringing children into this world that doesn't have a clue, that she doesn't have a clue how to take care of, that's on her. She's not going to burden me with that. The only thing she seems to be good for is opening her legs. And if she thinks the welfare system is going to help her raise these children, children with CHIRENS, that's country slang. And if she thinks the welfare system is going to help her raise these children, then so be it. Let her get her ass out of there and struggle with the rest of us. Stop it, Helen, my granddaddy demanded. You stop it, Walter. If you think I'm going to be spending the rest of my life raising Patricia's babies, you are a liar and a sack of shit. My mom couldn't take it anymore. She yelled, Stop it. Just stop it. I love Michael, and no matter what you say, Daddy, I'm going to marry him. Well, good, Helen yelled. Granddaddy shook his head and said, Well, you stupid, dumb fool. He turned and walked away, and that was that. My mom got married a month later after, hold on, I'm sorry. My mom got married later after a month after my babysitter was born. Michael had dropped out of school, got his GED, and enlisted into the Army. For the first year, while Michael completed basic training, my mom's little sister continued to live at home with my grandparents. When Michael came into town on his breaks, he lived with us. After completing all his training, Michael and my mom got their first apartment home together where they and my little sister lived. Where was I, you ask? There was no room for me in her fantasy. She left me for her dream life with him, just as she had done that day I stood screaming for her in the windowsill. It didn't matter to me because I didn't want to go with her anyway. When I did visit, I wouldn't stay for a full night with them. It was okay for me to visit her during the day, but when the nighttime came, it was time for me to go home. My place wasn't with her. It was with my grandparents, who in mind were my real parents, who in my mind were my real parents. Life in the beginning was so sweet until my mother met Michael Crawford. That's when she all, I'm sorry, that's when she forgot all about me. I never felt like I was a part of their family. I was a Lewis and they were Crawfords. After my mama got married, she embraced the Crawford name. She said she wanted all her children to have the same last name. She hated being a Lewis. She always wanted me to be something. Anything was better than being a Lewis to her. I didn't have the Crawford name, and I guess that's why she treated me like I wasn't her child. I didn't care. I didn't want to be a stinky Crawford anyway. I was proud to be a Lewis and proud of my granddaddy. With the next 2 years, my mom had another child waiting in the wings to be born. Michael told my mom that he was being deployed and sent my mom, I'm sorry, was being deployed and sent my mom back home to stay with her family while he was overseas. So here comes my mom, back home with her belly sticking out. Then one day, the military police showed up at our door looking for Michael. My grandmother answered the door, and the officer showed her a warrant giving them permission to come in and search the premises. What's this about, officers? Grandma asked. One of the officers replied, Ma'am, Private Coffer is AWOL. My mom came out of the back holding her youngest child and said, Oh no, officer, he's not. He's not AWOL. He's deployed overseas. There must be some kind of mistake. He sends me letters every couple of weeks from Germany. The officers look at each other and then back at my mother. Ma'am, do you have any of these letters with the envelopes they were sent in? Of course, my mom said. The officer asked, "Can you get them? I'm sorry, can you get them for us, please?" My mom went into another room, retrieved one of the letters, and gave it to the officers. They looked it over. Then the officer said, "Ma'am, we have to take this in for evidence." Why? My mom asked. The officer went over to my mother and said, "Look at the postmark. The letter was sent from a local post office. I'm sorry to tell you this, ma'am, but Private Crawford is not overseas and seems to be right here in the neighborhood from the looks of things." As the officers left, my mother broke down in tears. My granddaddy and Aunt Flo came in from the grocery store not too long after the officers left. Grandmother told granddaddy what happened. My granddaddy banged his fist on the table and shouted, "God damn it. You better pray that the police catch him before I do. I'll slit his damn throat if I ever see him again." Aunt Flo chimed in, "I can't find him for you, Daddy." My grandparents agreed. Aunt Flo put the word out in the neighborhood that she was looking for her brother-in-law. About a month later, the next door neighbor told Granddaddy she was visiting her girlfriend a few blocks over and saw Michael coming out of the other neighbor's house. She had called him out of his name and he turned around. I'm sorry, she called out his name and he had turned around. When he saw who spotted him, he took off running like O.J. Simpson. She couldn't wait to tell Aunt Flo and my granddaddy. Granddaddy wanted to go over there immediately, but my mother begged him to let her handle it. My mom said, "Daddy, you ain't got nothing to do with this." Granddaddy said, "Like hell, I don't. That's my name on that damn car." See, Granddaddy, Granddaddy co-signed for the car as a wedding gift for my mom and Michael. Oh damn, that's fucked up. Granddaddy continued, "If we don't do nothing else, we're gonna get that car, bring it back for you and your kids." So my mom, Aunt Flo, and my granddaddy went over to where Michael was, and I'm sorry. So my mom and Aunt Flo and my granddaddy went over to where Michael was, said to be staying with the other woman. Aunt Flo went to Aunt Flo went to the commandery, the vehicle. I'm sorry, commandeered the vehicle, because she had a driver's license and my mom didn't. Aunt Flo and my mom went up to the door and knocked. The woman's mother answered, and my mom asked to talk to Michael. The lady called, Mikey, somebody's at the door for you. When Michael came out, he was shocked to see my mom and Aunt Flo at the door. Aunt Flo looked at him and said, we came for the car, nigga. Flo, this ain't got nothing to do with you, Michael retorted. Aunt Flo said, nigga, I'm just here to get the car. I could care less about the shit you doing with Patricia. Michael looked out the door and saw Granddaddy in the car. He knew my granddaddy didn't play and carried a gun. Patricia, he said, as he gave me the keys to my mom. Gave the keys to my mom. My mom snatched the keys and said, it's over. I don't want to talk to you, Michael. She walked over to Granddaddy's car and jumped in, leaving Aunt Flo standing on the front porch of the lady's house. Michael ran behind her. Please let me explain. Let me talk to you. Aunt Flo turned around and shouted at my mom, bitch, give me the keys. Aunt Flo ran and took the keys from my mother, leaving Michael standing at the car window trying to get my mom to talk to him. Granddaddy calmly said, get away from the car, Michael. Come on, Patricia. Please let me explain, Michael begged. I said, get away from the car. Granddaddy firmly repeated himself as he reached over my mom's lap to roll up the window. Michael stood watching as my granddaddy drove off. Aunt Flo was right behind them, driving my mom's car. As Aunt Flo passed Michael, she screamed out the car window, God damn it, motherfucking bitch. Turns out Michael lied to my mother and started staying with another woman because he got tired of paying bills and being responsible. And that's the end of chapter 3.
Wow, see, that wasn't that long at all.
Yeah.
That was some juicy tidbits, you know, of that definitely. Who's knocking at my door? Hold on, y'all.
All right,
Come in.
Hey, y'all, I got to bounce. Me and my wife Connie got into a wreck last Friday, and I got the insurance adjuster calling me to see if my shit's totally wrecked. So,
okay.
This is an important phone call. You guys be blessed. Okay. Love you all. Have fun.
Okay. See you. I don't know, funny man, if you on the microphone, Molly, you around it, but the line it went silent and quiet during the reading portion. So I'm sitting here on the couch on the line. Looking for some, you know. I know she probably had to answer the phone or whatever, but she answered the door and I don't know. I looked up and everybody. I looked up and wasn't nobody on this joint.
It's Vicky talking about born later.
She answered the phone. Funny man muted. What's the name? I don't know where Phil and Lee and everybody else went, but go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead, close it out.
I muted because of the background noise. But I heard the reading and everything.
We'll just touch on that shit tomorrow, because that's what we were saying, not to even try to force it into the last, bit of time anyway. We could have caught everybody while they was here. Well, even, but whatever.
We get back to whatever chapter.
That was chapter 3, so we'll be on chapter 4 when we touch on it tomorrow.
Okay.
So, Shades of Blue, y'all. It's a good book to catch.
You better go download it now. Hey, y'all need y'all CMOs, man. Let me know. I got a few pickups today. I had a couple of people I missed messing with D's show. They come to pick up today. I got probably like 10 jars of gel, a few lemonades. I gotta get some more jars. I'm gonna grab some more today. But they ain't got the 16 ounce.
I'm all for that. You always stepping out and making it. I give it to you for the multitask and always having a array of things going on. So it could be people that's coming in there to get some work done or coming to buy some CMOS or whatever. So you always got your hands in different things. I rock with that.